Yo, 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 and I say good morning. You know who it is. It's your man, Mr. Virgil, from the classroom to reality. And the reality is we're not in the classroom, right? Because we have a pandemic going on. And I'm wondering, how does a pandemic affect society? Think about it. That's the question of the day. How does a pandemic affect society? First, we need to know what. What are some things that we need to know? We need to know what a pandemic is, right? And then we need to know, how does a pandemic affect society? Before we get to the definition of a pandemic and its effects on society, I want to address our health. Because we are out of school and we have so much free time to just sit around and be on our phones and TikTok and Instagram and video games, etc., don't spend all your time using this technology, folks. Don't get stuck behind a screen. Get outside, get some fresh air, go exercise, do some jumping jacks or something like that. Okay? Stretch, do some push-ups, some sit-ups. Make sure you're eating plenty of fruits and vegetables in your diet. We want to keep the vitamin D and the vitamin C rich and running through our veins. Secondly, the assessment that we took on Friday is still open. So if you haven't completed it, you need to complete it. I've had several people complete it, and then there's several more that have not completed it. I'm going to post the code for you to actually enter it on SchoolNet. I've given it to you last week, so just in case you don't remember it or you misplaced it, I'm going to give it to you again. That's QA9NA8GY6. That's the code. You log on onto your PowerSchool SchoolNet. All right. Thirdly, developed versus developing nations. What did we say that a developed or developing nation was? And what are the similarities and the characteristics of both? All right. We remember that a developing nation is a nation where they have a high birth rate and a high mortality rate. And in the developed nation, they have a low birth rate and a low death rate. And in a developing nation, they don't have as much access to health resources, and the country doesn't have economic strength, right? Whereas in a developed nation, they do have access to plenty of resources, and they do have access to, the best business leaders and doctors in the world. And think about it this way. We're in the United States, right? And there's a pandemic happening. And a pandemic is an outbreak of a disease that takes place all over the world. And so we know COVID19, also known as coronavirus, is a pandemic, and it's affecting our society. In what ways is it affecting our society? I'll let you figure that out. And post your comments in the video or in the Google Classroom, and let us know the differences between a developing nation and a developed nation, and also how a pandemic affects society. An example of a great resource in a developed nation is, take the United States, for example. So we have virtual healthcare. So just the other day, I had a phone call with my doctor, and I told her, I said, I have a sore throat, and I've been having a sore throat for a couple of days now. I need to follow up with you. She said, at this point in time, the national health advisors are encouraging people to make phone calls about the symptoms that they may be having instead of coming into the doctor's office. And so now we have a virtual healthcare system. Whereas in a developing nation, they may not even have access to doctors that can accept patients as visitors. Okay, that's a big difference between a developing country and a developed nation. And so I want you to think about that. All right. So remember, make it a great day. Use your time wisely. Stay healthy and active. Eat fruits and vegetables. finish your industrialism assessments. Oh, and side note, as you're finishing your assessments, some of you are making really good grades like 100s and 90s, and then there are some others that are not making, as good of grades. Don't worry. Don't worry, because the purpose of the assessment is so that you can see what the actual questions will look like on your final exam for social studies at the end of the year. It's not to grade you based on how many questions you get right. So as long as you're completing your exam, I will personally go back into the grade book and update your grades as long as you have completed it. So you don't have to worry about any bad grades. All right. I want to grade you based on your effort to complete the exam. All right. So again, make it a great day or not. The choice is yours. This is your man, Mr. Virgil, from the classroom to your reality. And I say, good morning.